Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and this is my husband Drew. And on this channel, we talk about life and relationships after leaving the church and do some commentary on the goings on in evangelical Christianity. So recently, I stumbled upon feminine energy dating coaches on TikTok, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Why are you looking at dating coaches?
Well, I'll explain to you how I found it. So these coaches give like really, really awful advice and in my opinion are probably destroying relationships. So I thought today we could take a look at that. Before we get into what feminine energy dating coaches are, because I'm sure you're probably wondering what that is.
Yeah,
And
no.
I'll kind of explain a little bit, but I first want to show you the initial TikTok that completely destroyed my algorithm and kind of led me down this feminine energy dating coach rabbit hole.
Okay.
So
When Taylor says this destroyed my algo, that's like going from like it's already at like 80% destroyed. Like it's
Yeah,
already
it is
pre-cursed her algo in Instagram. And this, like, if you're saying destroyed on top of how it already is, it's like another level of
well,
cursed.
and here's the thing, my Instagram algo is destroyed, but my TikTok algorithm is destroyed now too.
Okay.
And I have how I sort my TikToks so that I can like kind of categorize them so I can go back and look at them to make videos. I'll like them because then it like saves it. And I'm pretty sure that nobody can see my likes on TikTok. I really hope people can't because they're probably like, what the fuck is going on? Because there's some crazy ones that I've liked.
So she destroys her algo for you guys.
Yes, exactly.
You want to know how I know a girl is thriving in a relationship? She's feminine. She's feminine. When I tell you, when I first met Malik, I was wearing like Jordans. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but I was wearing like just a lot of streetwear. A lot of my fashion was really hyper masculine. Even my mannerisms, the way that I live my life and etc. And then since being together with him for like almost 2 years, I'm like, pink this, Pilates that, nails did, hair done. I'm a girly girl. I love being a girl. Like, I've always hated pink so much. And not even just for the sake of it being a trend right now. It's just, man, when you're in a relationship, you just want to be a girl. And it's so stinking cute. And let me tell you this. When I was with other people, I did not want to be a girly girl. I feel like I was mad, you know. So, this is just a little Chico. You know you're thriving when you just love being a girl. And guess what? I love being a girl. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So that was Emmy Moore. We've responded to her a few times. We've responded to her in our Jesus Glow one. And then like one video from like a long time ago. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe one of our evangelical Instagram is cursed videos. But she was the one that did like fashion based on biblical stories. If you remember that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was her.
Okay.
But yeah, she is engaged and is going to get married soon. And I guess she thinks that a sign that that your relationship is thriving is if you're more feminine, which to me, I'm just like, I think a sign that you have a thriving relationship is just you're showing up as you are and you feel like you can be your authentic self. Like, I don't know if it has to be a gendered thing.
Like you like your relationship and you like who they are and you like who you are when you're together.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gendered part of it is maybe a complete, I mean, it's an afterthought for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you're naturally a girly girl and you feel like you can be a girly girl in a relationship, then that's great. If you're more of a tomboy or, you know, more masculine, you should feel safe in your relationship to present that way.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what gender has to do with anything, honestly. Before we continue, allow me a brief moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Aura. So recently, just out of curiosity, I decided to do a little Google search of my name, and I was absolutely shocked to find much of my personal data listed on like random websites. These websites had information on my past addresses, people I'm related to, places I used to work, and even my professional like aviation licenses that I've obtained. As someone who's super careful about what I put out there about myself online, especially given the type of content I produce, I was pretty freaked out knowing that this information was so easily accessible through just doing a quick Google search. I'm also constantly finding that my email inbox is flooded with spam and promotional emails, even from companies I've never given my email address to. This is super embarrassing, but I have like 40,000 unread emails in my inbox, most of which are just spam from random companies and like random websites. I'm not the only one who has an overflowing inbox. Like, please tell me I'm not the only one. This is such a common experience because these companies, which are called data brokers, sell your personal information like your email address and phone number to other companies and marketers. What's really messed up is that these data brokers don't need your consent to do this, and they'll even sell your info to scammers and stalkers. You can request that they remove your info, but often they make this process so confusing and tedious that it's like almost impossible. This is where Aura comes in. Aura does the hard work for you by automatically removing your info from these websites, and they'll keep it off for good. If they find your phone number, email, or social security on the dark web, they'll send you an alert immediately. They will let you know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access your credit or bank accounts, and they also provide you with $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst happen. They also have a ton of other features like VPN services and antivirus software that keep you safe online, all inside one app. This is so much better than dealing with all of this on your own by using separate software or systems. Okay, so here's the best part. You can go to my link, aura.com/antibot, to try Aura out for free for 14 days. That's more than enough time for Aura to find out if your data is exposed. I hated finding out that my info was floating around out there for anyone to use, and I don't want to be vulnerable to things like data breaches or people putting my information on random websites. And if you don't want to be either, you can go to aura.com/antibot to try them out for 2 weeks free of charge. Thanks, Aura. Now back to the video. All right, so that was the TikTok that kind of got me into this whole thing. So I'm just going to read something that I wrote. This is a definition kind of based on what I've been able to gather about like feminine energy, because it's not really precisely defined anywhere. So this is kind of how I understand it.
Okay.
So feminine energy stems from the metaphysical belief popular in some New Age circles that posits that there is a polarity of energy, that being both masculine and feminine, that resides in all human beings. Some supposed traits of feminine energy are softness, strong intuition, a nurturing nature, compassion, and sensitivity. Because this belief can present itself in somewhat binary terms, the idea of feminine energy is popular among some conservatives. And this is one, according to one user on Reddit, because I was going through Reddit trying to like figure out what this feminine energy stuff was. And they said, it's rebranded 1950s gender roles thinly veiled by New Age spirituality. It seeks to make women think that succumbing to traditional female gender roles is empowering, and that those who don't rest in their divine feminine energy are doing something that the universe doesn't condone. And then they said, the New Age to far-right pipeline is real. Many conservatives who subscribe to this idea seem to believe that women are naturally inclined to cultivate their feminine energy, and that when they're in a healthy relationship with a masculine man, then they're free to cultivate their feminine energy to its fullest potential. And so I think that's kind of like going back to Emmy's TikTok. I kind of think that's where the thought process is, because I think she's kind of bought into this idea that she probably doesn't think is New Age, because she's a very conservative Christian. And I know among those types of Christians, like saying that
New Age
is like really bad, like satanic. But she seems to think that there is this kind of like masculine and feminine energy that is in everybody. And when you're single or when you're with a man that's not being protective or masculine, then that means that you have to take on that those masculine traits. But then when you're in a relationship that's healthy and your man is being masculine, then you can be who you're really meant to be, which is feminine. So to me, I'm pretty sure that's where she's getting it from, even though I don't think that she's even aware of that.
Yeah, so I've talked about gender metaphysics on my channel before, and the context of that is that there's this Christian apologist named Frank Turek who has gotten what anybody would consider, and any reasonable person I think would consider, gender-affirming surgery. He's gotten breast reduction because he felt uncomfortable with having breast tissue as a man. That's gender-affirming surgery, right? He says it's not because he wasn't trying to change his sex. So I did an analysis of this, and my conclusion was that he does not define gender based on any kind of social category, social construction, any kind of physical characteristic. It's actually all about the metaphysics of masculinity and femininity and identity. So like Christians, I think, believe that gender is fundamentally metaphysical. And this is something that even I think Judith Butler has talked about, not just in reference to Christians, but just generally speaking. Like the way that our culture often sees gender is through a kind of metaphysical lens rather than grounding it in something that's tangible. So I think that this is not even just unique to the New Age. It has a home in a lot of different ideologies and philosophies.
I mean, it's like the idea of a gendered soul, because I think that that's something that they buy into. The idea that your spirit has a gender. I'm not sure if they would say that when you go to heaven you have a gender, although I think that they kind of do believe that to a certain extent. But they say like your spirit, your like spiritual being has a gender. And so I think that's why this type of thinking from like New Age with like energies and like polarity and that kind of thing does lend itself so well to conservatives, because it's like they're kind of speaking the same language. It's the same concept, just coming from different like spiritualities. And I think conservative Christians like me probably don't like realize that that's where it's coming from. But and so I realized that there are dating coaches on TikTok that base their entire like coaching services and advice based on this idea of like feminine and masculine energy. And so I thought we would look at some of those because they're like really crazy. So this first one is a bit long, and I put it first because not all of the advice she gives is bad, just most of it.
The key to getting a guy to chase you is very simple. It is to remain unbothered. But I get a lot of questions from women. How do you actually act unbothered when you really like a guy? So here are 5 tangible ways to act unbothered, because I swear to God, you guys, this is like the secret sauce. The less you care about a guy, the more he cares about you. It's the way it always works. Number 1, text back sporadically. This literally makes somebody addicted to you because they never know when they're going to get that response back. So they're going to be waiting by their phone for your text back, because sometimes it comes quickly, sometimes it doesn't. And this isn't about playing games. This naturally happens when you have a well-rounded life. That's why the more you fill up your own cup and you focus on yourself, the more he's going to chase after you. It's the way it always works. And not texting back frequently, not answering his calls all the time, not always being available to hang out with him, that's a natural byproduct of this. And I'm telling you, men love women like this. The busier you are, the more he wants to hammer in a spot into your life. Remember the psychology principle, cognitive dissonance. The more we have to work to obtain something, the higher we assume its value must be. That means you set the bar on your self-worth to a man simply by how hard you make it for him to obtain you. 2.
Okay. That's not what cognitive dissonance means. What?
I don't
That's
know
not even
where she's getting
not
that
relevant
from.
in any way at all.
Yeah, that's totally not what cognitive dissonance means.
Like, cognitive dissonance is holding 2 ideas or beliefs that contradict each other, but it's holding them simultaneously. And cognitive dissonance is the thing that like basically occurs or allows you to do that. But that has nothing to do with it.
I mean, So her saying like you need to not make yourself available to him all the time. First of all, she's basing it all on this premise, I guess, that all men like when a woman isn't always available to them or is busy, which I'm like, where are you getting that from? She
Seems like a
doesn't.
generalization.
Yeah, it seemed, first of all, even generally, I don't know if that's true or not. But she's also just pulling that out of nowhere and isn't attempting to back up why that's true at all. She just kind of like says it like, this is how it is, you know?
I will say that what she is describing at the very beginning is called, I believe, random interval reinforcement.
Yeah.
And it's idea in behavioral training that you do with people to actually breed dependency. It is essentially the psychological process behind how most gambling works, especially slot machines.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is actually an addictive thing. It does make someone addicted to something so long as there's like that reward that is there. He likes texting you, then yeah. But I mean, should you purposely be trying to manipulate somebody in a way to make them like addicted to you as if they're playing a slot machine? Should your relationship be like a slot machine to one of you? That's fucked up.
Right? I mean, it's just pure emotional manipulation is what it is. And she says, oh, this isn't playing games. It's like, no, this is exactly what it is. It's exactly playing games. You don't just get to act like it isn't. And then she's also talking about how this isn't something that you have to try to do because it's something that will naturally happen if you have a well-rounded life. And if that's the case, then why is she teaching it as a tactic?
Right.
Or like giving it as advice if it just like will naturally happen?
She should just say, have a full, busy life. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then she shouldn't have to explain the byproduct of that.
I mean, I think having a well-rounded life is a good thing. And if a consequence of that is that you're not like immediately going to text back your boyfriend or whatever because you're busy doing something, that's one thing. But the difference with that is that like your intention isn't to like play games or like manipulate him in a certain way to get what you want.
This thing has 200,000 likes, so I'm interested to see what could have possibly earned that.
Let's keep watching.
The okay noted method. You have to detach from seeing the actions of a man as a reflection of your self-worth. So if he doesn't text you back, he doesn't follow up after a date, okay noted. You remain indifferent to his actions. You see it for what it actually is, a reflection of his worth, not yours. In this way, it's so easy to act unbothered because once you've detached, you let him prove himself to you. And if he doesn't meet the caliber that you set for treatment from men, bye. You don't beg him to act right. You don't sit there and wait for him to get it together. You move on to somebody else who does know how to treat you. Which leads to point 3.
I feel like that one's not terrible.
No, it's put in a weird way, kind of, but I think I understand what she's saying. It seems okay.
Yeah, she puts it in a weird way where she's kind of attaching it to this idea of being unbothered and kind of emotionally neutral.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. And there are certain circumstances where maybe having emotional neutrality is maybe a good thing. But like I feel like that's like a case by case thing. You can't just like make the blanket statement of you need to be unbothered to any and all of his actions.
Yeah.
Because sometimes maybe he's going to do something that upsets you and you need to have the space to be able to express those emotions even if they're negative. You know what I mean? But I think her saying, you know, taking note of if he's not treating you how he should be or, you know, not putting time into the relationship and noting that and being like, setting a boundary basically and saying, okay, well, this isn't what I want in a relationship. So I'm going to leave this person and go find somebody else that does kind of meet this criteria for me. I feel like that's not bad advice.
Yeah.
It's just attaching it to the whole unbothered thing is like a little weird.
Yeah. If the ultimate point of this one is to say that it's not healthy to attach your own self-worth to the way that somebody treats you, this specific relationship treats you, like, I think that's generally a good thing. Like, you're going to have attachments and that will happen, but generally having a good sense of self-worth that comes from yourself rather than another person is good. And I think especially for women, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
You do not compete with anybody. Remember, when you compete with no one competes with you. You know your worth. It's up here, babe. And if he doesn't act right, then it's his loss, period. You prove yourself to no one. You are not seeking your identity through this man. You're not seeking validation through him. He's literally just like an added zest to the already full plate of your life. Are you picking up on the theme here? Or
that one, again, I don't really have much of an issue with, like, you as a woman should know that you have high, well, I don't like using the word like term high value because
Yeah,
that's
that
like sounds a
super
little weird.
loaded.
But like you have worth, I am not really sure when she says like you're not getting any of your validation through him, because humans need external validation, not just, obviously internal validation. You should be validating yourself, but naturally we need validation from other people, like our friends and family. And, in this situation, your significant other, you do need some validation.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that part of it.
Yeah, I worry that this can be taken to an extreme in that someone is like, oh, I, don't get my value from any of my attachments to people, and all my relationships to anyone are all just an added zest to everything that I need, which is all within myself. And if you take that to an extreme, you're going to be very lonely. And I mean, yeah, like you said, people need other people. You do need other people. That's the reality of it. But if you take, kind of the opposite of this to another extreme where you're just dependent on other people for your value, then that can also be very unhealthy. So there is a balance to strike here. I can't really tell exactly how extreme she wants people to go with the derive value from yourself, not other people. But generally, I feel like I'm okay with it.
I'm getting a little sense of like a kind of like boss babe type mentality where you're like super independent and you don't need anybody and you are just, cutthroat about stuff. I'm kind of getting like a little bit of that vibe from her, but I haven't really looked at the rest of her content to really know if that's kind of the stuff that she's putting out there. But
date multiple men. If you and this man are not exclusive, then you are free to entertain all the options on your table. Because here's the thing, if you're locked in on one man, you're going to allow a lot more lenience in the way he treats you because there's no other options on the table. Your best strategy before you are exclusive with a man is to date several men, because then, one, you'll get an idea what the actual dating pool is like for you, and two, you're going to be able to kick all the loser guys who aren't treating you well to the curb because you'll have men up here who are treating you well. But when you only have one man, you'll deal with whatever treatment he gives you because there's no other options on the table. You guys have to get over this nice girl complex where you feel guilty for dating multiple men at one time. Believe me, I live in New York City. Men do not feel slightly bad about entertaining so many women at one time. In fact, they feel good about it. So get over this complex, you guys. Prioritize yourself.
That was a weird one for me, and it kind of felt like it contradicted some of the previous ones in that she's saying that you'll allow more lenient treatment from a man if essentially he's not in competition with other men and you're not seeing how other people treat you. But I thought that you weren't supposed to be making decisions about how you're treated based on how other people are acting. It's based on your own internal standards. So if you're applying those previous bits of advice, which I thought that was her advice, then why do you need this part? It's really strange. I mean, I don't have a problem with you can date multiple people if you're not exclusive or whatever, but like this seems to make no sense given the standards she told women to have for themselves previously.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you shouldn't put up with bad treatment from a man, whether or not you're like just dating him or you're like also dating other men. I don't understand like you said, it's kind of like contradicting what she said at the beginning because she was talking about how you need to know your worth and that comes like from yourself and comes from something internal. And now she's saying, well, if you don't have other men to compare him to, then you'll just put up with whatever.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't make any sense. And I mean, I think the advice of feel free to date multiple men at the same time isn't necessarily bad if those are like the terms and like you have the consent of everybody that's in the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if the guy thinks that you're exclusive,
Then obviously,
then obviously,
problem.
yeah. But also, like, I don't see what the harm is in just dating one guy at a time, too, if that's how you choose to do things,
Yeah.
that you feel like that's what's best for you. I think the problem I have with, like, a lot of the, like, different tips she's giving is that they're just, like, kind of blanket statements of, like, if you do this, you will get a good result. And it's like, with relationships especially, it's not like a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to depend on the situation and like the people involved and the circumstances. Like, you can't just give like generic advice to 200,000 people and it's going to work every single time. Like, that's just not how human beings are and
Yeah.
how like relationships work, you know?
Well, I mean, you can't fit a, well nuanced conversation into a little 4-minute
Yeah.
TikTok is the problem.
That's true.
It's not going to sell well. We say that all the time. You
Yeah.
can't put good like spiritual advice or theology into 1 minute either.
Yeah.
And that's why all the big TikToks are all shit and nonsense.
5, the last thing, is to surrender. When you want to control every situation and the outcome of it, that's masculine energy, and it literally repels men. It's this guy or somebody better. You have to remember that's the options that are on the table for you. If it doesn't work out with this guy you like, then it's his loss, all right? Wish him well, send him condolences, but do not sit there and beg him to love you back. You always win. That's the unbothered mantra. If this guy doesn't treat you right, another guy will. Remember that.
Okay. So again, I think that this one really contradicts everything she's set up to this point, because she's saying surrender and you shouldn't want to control everything and you shouldn't want to control the outcome of everything. But yet she's literally giving people advice so that they can control the outcome of situations.
Yeah.
So what? And then secondly, she's, you can kind of see where that like feminine energy, masculine energy is at play here, because she's saying that if you want to control things, that's like masculine. Like, that's a masculine trait.
Yeah.
And you as a woman shouldn't exhibit that trait because men won't like it. Like it's going to repel men or something.
It's just such a weird way of, I don't understand why we're gendering that. Like, why?
I don't get it either.
To me, that feels like a product of patriarchy. Like, men and control naturally go together.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why? How does it make any sense?
And she never explains. And I don't like, and none of these people explain what any of this means or like why they think that's a masculine energy thing.
Yeah.
They don't explain it.
I feel like she out of the corner of her eye passed by a Buddhist temple and saw through the window it saying something about detachment and how like the escape from suffering is like detachment from things like desire. And then she's like, okay, yeah, like I came up with that on my own and I'm gonna apply it to like dating stuff and have this weird like kind of Christian patriarchal nonsense that I'm gonna interweave with it, and then I'm gonna sell it for money. Like,
yeah,
doesn't it feel like there's a kind of a strange like Buddhist like detachment thing coming through here, but not in a way that's actually useful?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure. And I think it's coming from New Age, which Buddhist thought has a lot to do with New Age. So I
say like New Age has taken some things from
Buddhism. Yeah. I think it's like a mix of New Age kind of stuff with this like weird patriarchy, like traditional gender roles, and she's like giving dating advice based on it.
But what would we know? We've only been married for 10 years. We wouldn't know anything about healthy relationships.
Okay, so I think we should move on to the next one, and the rest of them won't be quite as long as this one. Feminine ways to attract men who treat you like a queen. Stop being like every other woman who's dating. Start acting like a queen and start being courted. Because when a man courts, he's looking to marry the queen
I think looking to marry the queen.
Oh. When a man courts, he's looking to marry. The queen is of a high status. She's a power player with options who's not looking for hookups.
How are you acting like you're courting and not dating when you're also saying that you have options. I don't know.
Yeah, this is really confusing.
This is confusing to me as someone who married my first real and serious girlfriend, and we got together when we were 18. I don't know what the difference is between like dating and courting and looking and not looking for hookups or whatever. Like, also people need to stop being obsessed with like these like status games. There's no such thing as queens. Queens are things that we made up to exploit people.
True, so true. Well, when I hear the like term court, I'm thinking Christian fundamentalism, where you have to be chaperoned by your parent and you are only dating specifically with the intention of marriage, which it seems like she's kind of alluding to here. But at the same time, she's bringing this like high status thing in, which is kind of from the manosphere.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like intersections in this content of like things that are drawn from different kind of niche online spaces almost, or like niche cultures and religious traditions that like don't necessarily go together, but at the same time they kind of mesh.
Yeah. They're telling women to not see themselves as in competition with other women, and you might think that like that could be a good thing. But then they justify you having that belief by saying that you should adopt the belief that you are basically superior on a hierarchy of power than other people.
Right.
And that's like extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
The way that you go about not being in, you know, hyper competition in a toxic way with other people is to stop looking at humanity as inherently hierarchical, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no such thing as queens. Just everyone's a normal person. There's no peasants. There's no queens. Everyone's a human fucking being. Act like that.
Like you have value because you're a human being.
Yeah, and
because you're a queen or whatever.
Yeah, and so do other people.
Yeah.
Like, get over it. You're not
like,
better than other people.
Maybe she would say like all women are queens, potentially.
Maybe, I guess.
I guess if you
could say that, but like
you have to like be very like explicit and explain that a little bit more. I think stop saying all men are the same, men ain't shit, men don't want wives, etc. Because your words have power. You limit yourself when you speak a negative reality. What you speak will manifest. So you see kind of that new age thought coming in here where it's like law of attraction stuff. If you send positive vibes out into the universe, positive things will happen into your life, in your life. And if you send out negative energy, then negative things will happen to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you can say like some men do suck. I think that's okay to say.
Yeah.
Like if that's how you're feeling in the moment or something, like I don't buy into the idea that because you said that, that means you're never going to find a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean, I would say that, yeah, if you wholeheartedly believe that your situation in finding someone to be with is essentially hopeless because everyone in the world sucks, then yeah, you're not going to find someone, but that's because you're just not going to try as much or put yourself out there or whatever. If you believe that there is somebody out there, it doesn't mean that you will because there's some magic force in the universe that will attract a man to you. It just means that you might do some things. Put yourself out there more and become more available for people who you might be looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not magic. There's no magical forces. There's no queens. If you want to get married, then like look for people who are interested in getting married and not hooking up.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you just want to hook up, that's fine too. It's like almost like she's implying that you shouldn't want to do that. But like, why? Like maybe some people that's what they want. And I feel like that's fine. Maybe they're not looking to date to marry. Maybe they just want to date.
Yeah.
Stop acting like a peasant and start acting like a queen. Because queens are beautiful inside and out, graceful, humble, kind, embody these characteristics. You can't get what you don't give. I mean, you don't have to be a queen to be beautiful inside and out and graceful and humble. I mean, anybody can be those things. And I think everybody is beautiful. I think beauty is subjective and there's somebody out there for everyone. Like, I don't understand what the queen stuff has to do with it.
I feel like I am right now incapable of putting away my leftist, anti-monarchist, anti-imperialist attitude. And it's just like, I know that that's not what she really is saying. It's just I can't put it away. But I like what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you don't have to think of yourself as superior to other people in order to embody these characteristics. If you want to embody these characteristics,
Yeah, just do it.
like cultivate them within yourself with work and time.
Right.
There you go.
Look for others. If those characteristics are important to you in a partner, then look for people that have those characteristics.
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of like that magic thing where she's saying, like, if you embody that, then you'll like magically attract people who also embody that. It's like, no, just like be normal and like look for people that vibe with you. I don't. And you notice like she's kind of like slowly doing this like this. Like that's also a thing that's super prevalent in this like feminine energy dating coach sphere, is like these like really soft, like smooth movements, because that's considered feminine. Like if you like move too like, then that's like a masculine trait or something. So a lot of these women will have these like really soft, subtle like movements that are like seductive almost.
Huh.
It's kind of weird.
I mean, like, no hate if that's how you naturally are, but I do have to say that if someone is like really prioritizing like manicuring every part of themselves, including their like natural gestures and postures, into this like little box so that they can embody some like archetype of gender, and it doesn't have to do with some inherent like some dysphoria that you get when you behave as it puts me off. Like, I like when people act like themselves and are like apologetic about it, as long as they are being considerate of other people.
It's like they're marketing themselves as though they're a product.
Yes.
And I feel like that is a result of like both capitalism and social media, where you are trying to, in order to get eyes on you, cultivate your account to like look a certain way. And so they kind of apply that same thinking, but with relationships. And the thing is that actually doesn't work and like would probably hurt you more than help.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to be in a relationship with someone where you have to kind of put on this front and act in a way that's not authentic to who you are, when you could just show up authentically and be yourself and find somebody that loves those qualities about you?
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's somebody out there for everybody. Like I really do believe that. I think you can find someone that vibes with you. Like, I would say pretty easily, but this is me speaking from my place of privilege and with the fact that we've been married for so long. I mean, we've started dating when we were 18, so maybe I don't really understand the dating scene these days, how hard it is. But I think with a little effort in putting yourself out there, I think that you can find somebody who will love you for who you are. And I just feel like they're doing too much.
Yeah.
Like, just be normal. I don't know how else to say it. Just be normal.
I think that's probably the most important point here that we don't want to overlook, is that this is advice in a consumerist setting.
Yeah.
Where people are this wasn't how we got together. We just got together because we just bumped into each other a bunch.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with, any kind of like corporation that was selling us the product of connection. Like, we have to realize that dating is corporatized, it's commodified, it's entirely just like it's a capitalist like
hellscape.
Yeah, hellscape at this point. And so it is kind of natural that people, especially on the capitalist hellscape of TikTok, people would market themselves and advise other people to market themselves as commodities, as products, rather than as human beings, or not market themselves at all, because there's not supposed to be a market for you. You're supposed to connect with, even if you're poly, it's relatively few people over the course of your entire life. So you're not a product to be consumed. You're a person to connect with other unique people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do with marketing.
Yeah. Stop complaining with no change. Because you can't attract men while complaining about them. Work on yourself. Be the woman who truly deserves queen treatment. Sorry, the way she writes is so confusing. Be the woman who truly deserves queen treatment. Too much is given, much is required. I mean, I think that you can complain about people if you have a justified reason to complain about them, whether or not they're a man or a woman. And just because you have a complaint with a particular gender doesn't mean that you're going to like repel them from your presence. Like, I don't understand. Again, that's like this kind of weird law of attraction thing.
Yeah. I've said this to you several times. I think that some of the best advice that I ever got when it came to looking for a partner was from my youth pastor. And it was a Valentine's Day special sermon. And I even told him this, like, as an atheist, I went to the church and told him this, that I think it was great that he said, it's not so much about looking for the right person. It's about being the right person. And then when you see another person who is trying to be the right person, then that is when you like make that connection. And I kind of see some of that in this. I'm not sure that that means that you shouldn't ever complain. I guess I would say that it's probably most important to like work on yourself, try to be your best self, try to foster like healthy relationships with people in a non-romantic way, and then like set good boundaries and standards so that when you are interacting with other people, you're treated well by another person who's doing the same thing. Like, that's probably the advice I'd give. Is that what she's saying?
I think it's partially what she's saying, but not the full picture, because I think that she does see it as this kind of like magical force. Like if you complain about men, you're putting into the universe some sort of negativity.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause you to not get the desired outcome of finding a significant other.
Yeah.
So I think it's like she would partially agree, but not fully. I really like the advice that your youth pastor gave you. And I think that's like generally good advice. Focus on yourself and like work on yourself, and also look for someone that has equal standards. And I think that's something that both you and I have taken from our relationship is like, you should be making each other better people.
Yeah.
And I think we do that for each other. And I think that's generally good advice to give. But we do steer clear of giving any type of relationship advice that's like deeper than that on this channel, because I don't really believe in relationship advice in that way, because I think, like I said, like every relationship and situation is going to be so different that like giving just generic advice often doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I think that you need to be working with like a marriage counselor or relationship counselor that knows you as a couple and knows your situation and like the nuances of it to really give you anything that you can actually work with.
Yeah.
And so like me sitting here in front of a camera speaking to, I don't know how many views this video will get, but thousands of people, I don't know that like everyone's situation. And so I can't like tell you what to do in your relationship. And so I don't. But yet there are these people on TikTok that like think that they understand relationships so well, and like their advice is applicable to everybody, that they can give this advice to hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. Belief in universal divine energies tends to have a way of making people be a little overconfident in their, the applicability of their advice.
Yeah.
Her ebook is called Courtship for the Queen. I'm just like, just tell people like, hey, if you want to be treated well and have high standards for yourself and like you want to get married, then like if someone doesn't get married or someone doesn't want to get married and they tell you I don't want to get married, then don't date them. And also if someone's like abusing you, then get out of there. That's it. That's all.
That's another
That's the whole
thing.
book.
With a lot of them, it's just like, I feel like you guys are like thinking about this a little too much. You're making it too complex.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And are so simple. Leave them alone. Like 99% of the time, just let them be in their world. Say what you want to say. Like, speak your mind, speak your feelings, speak like how your day's going. Don't get mad at them when they don't respond, though. Just like let them be on their timeline and you be on yours. You know, he's going to be in his energy. You're going to be in yours. You're going to worry about yourself. He's going to worry about himself, which you worrying about yourself is going to make him worry a lot the fuck more about yourself. You just focus on yourself. And it's not even worrying, because we're not worrying about anybody here. Well, let me undo that entire word. We're not worrying about anybody here. There's nothing to worry about. We are prioritizing ourselves. He is prioritizing himself. And if he prioritizes himself, you're his woman, right? So it's like he will prioritize you because you're an extension of him.
I'm confused.
Okay. There's multiple things with that. First of all, again, with the generalizations of like all men are like this, all men want to be left alone. Like, where are you getting this from? Because I don't think that that's true.
Yeah, I don't like to be alone.
Yeah, like, we're with each other 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I require more alone time than you do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what? She's saying, like, leave them alone, but also do talk to them. But also, like, if you talk to them and they don't respond, don't get mad at them because they need to be in their own space. It's like, okay, those things are all contradictory for one. And then, like, for two, I'm sorry, but if I'm trying to talk to my partner and they're not replying to me, like, if I try to, like, have a conversation with you and you weren't responding, I would probably get upset about that. And I think that that's, like, a reasonable thing to get upset about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's degrees of this, I guess. Like, yeah, like, someone doesn't have to, like, totally be like, drop everything about, you know, if someone has to drop everything in order to respond to you and that's what you expect every time, that's not cool. But like, she's just saying if they don't respond, just pass on by. And I'm like, that's how you get into
abusive relationship.
Yeah, an abusive relationship where the guy like only cares about himself. And then, I mean, I feel like this is what a lot of like boomers did. And then they're like, make all these jokes about how, yeah, well, I hate my spouse. We all know that we hate each other. And yeah, that's not cool if you don't pay attention to each other and don't expect the other person to pay attention to you at all. You're not going to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like with the generalizations, because there might be situations where I'm trying to tell you something and maybe you're doing something else or you're thinking about something else and you're like, okay, hold on, give me a second and then I can like respond to you. There are situations like that, but again, it's like you can't just like make these blanket statements of like, don't get upset if he's not responding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this is making me so frustrated.
Just like let them be on their timeline and you be on yours. You know, he's going to be in his energy. You're going to be in yours. You're going to worry about yourself. He's going to worry about himself, which you worrying about yourself is going to make him worry a lot the fuck more about yourself. You just focus on yourself. And it's not even worrying because we're not worrying about anybody here.
So you worrying about yourself is going to make him worry more about you?
I could speculate as to what that means, but you could interpret that so many ways that sometimes I could be like, oh, totally. And sometimes it could be like, no, that's horrible. Like, specifically, give me a specific example and all of the context surrounding the relationship and the previous dynamic of the relationship. And maybe I'll be able to weigh in on whether or not any of what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
But like without that, it's gibberish.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that this thought process of hers is coming from kind of what we saw in that like first TikTok that we watched of like being unbothered, because there's kind of this idea within this like feminine energy dating coach realm that if you act like unbothered and like you're just doing your own thing and you don't really care about whatever he's doing, that somehow is going to make him like want you or love you more.
Yeah.
Which they're just like, oh, that's how men operate. They like will be wanting you more if you're like something that they can't have. Like it's just like the kind of emotional manipulation, like getting them addicted through like
Yeah.
inconsistent, like I don't know what you would call it.
Like random interval reinforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of her thought process here.
Well, let me undo that entire word. We're not worrying about anybody here. There's nothing to worry about. We are prioritizing ourselves. He is prioritizing himself. And if he prioritizes himself, you're his woman, right? So it's like he will prioritize you because you're an extension of him.
If you're supposed to be prioritizing yourself, you can't also believe that you're an extension of your partner. That's not how that works.
Again, it's just like I feel like this is all gibberish. I mean, you could interpret this in so many ways. Like this is a psalm in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like you can just interpret it whatever way you want to say that's great or that's horrible. And it almost makes me wonder if that is something that people like in this. Like this is almost like reading a horoscope. It's like Barney statements, you know?
Because you can take from it what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be right about that. I was just thinking like, I mean, if you actually believe that you're just an extension of a man, how is that in any way prioritizing
Right.
you?
Yeah, you could absolutely interpret
Like
that.
you're inherently deprioritizing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two more, and both of these are from who I would probably, like, I would speculate is like the feminine energy dating coach. She's super popular. I think she has like almost 2 million followers on TikTok, and she is absolutely unhinged.
Oh, great. It's going to get worse.
He's obsessed with you, does everything, puts in lots of effort, and then after a while he stops. This is what you're doing wrong. This is going to be... Lean in, okay? I'm going to change your life. And it's going to be hard for you because you're a woman. This is hard for you. You have anxious attachment. It's hard for you. It's fine. We're going to do this. Okay, so...
Okay, so women have anxious attachment style, apparently. Okay, why substantiate that claim at all? I mean, I definitely don't think that's true. I think anybody can have an anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
Where is she getting this from? Again, based like she's starting off with a premise that's unsubstantiated.
Yeah.
This is you. This is him. He's the one with the jewelry. You are here. He wants your attention. Hello. He gives you flowers. He gives you something else. He gives you time and attention. Okay, he's giving you all of that. And you're like, oh, he's giving me all of this. And you don't know him, so you expect something. Because if he gave you nothing, you wouldn't be interested. So you're like, oh, okay, he's giving me time, attention, effort, energy, flowers, whatever. You've got that now. And you're like, you give him something back. He gives you something back. You're giving each other love, time, and attention. And then one time, when he's feeling a little bit tired or a little bit like he doesn't want to spend money or a little bit like he hasn't got time, he replies to you shortly, or he doesn't give you that love and attention you want. Let's just categorize it as love, okay? He doesn't give it to you. But because you're a woman and you're used to reciprocal love, and that's how we love our children, you just keep giving it back to him. And what...
I mean, yeah, it's another assumption. Like, are you as a woman inherently accustomed to that? Did every woman grow up in the exact same way and be accustomed to... I mean, she's also say that's how we love our children. Does every woman have children? Much less women who are trying to figure out how to date. They all have children? Like, what?
I mean, that goes back to the feminine energy. Feminine energy is inherently nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But also, I think that's how everybody works. Like, not in like the parent-child dynamic, but we like all need validation and love and connection from each other.
Like, relationships are reciprocal to some degree.
Yeah.
At all levels. I mean, yeah, I would say that like all relationships are somewhat are reciprocal in some way. There's a lot of different variations of that, but yeah.
What that does in his head is it sets up an algorithm, okay? And men don't do more than they are required to do. Let's listen again.
If someone says algorithm and they're not talking about an actual algorithm,
they're fucked in that.
Yeah, it makes me so, like, one time, exactly what I'm about to talk about. One time, I was literally at a place where you buy weed, like a legal store in Colorado buying weed, and this guy standing next to me and finds out about my channel and starts saying that he likes to like study like biblical, scholarship as well, because Jordan Peterson, and I was like, convinced him that the Bible isn't just bullshit you should ignore, which like, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Because in the Bible, if you actually read it, it's got all these success algorithms. It's just success algorithms. If you read it, it tells you how to succeed in a step-by-step process. It's algorithmic. And I was just like, so the story of Elijah making fun of Baal worshippers by lighting stuff on fire and then running really, really fast to beat a chariot is about how you can succeed in your tech security IT job in Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2023. What the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, no. Anyway, if someone says it sets up an algorithm and it's like masculine coded, especially, I'm get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I mean, I think just the idea that the Bible has really much to say that would be applicable to modern day life, I kind of find like, I mean, is there some things? Yes. Like there are some things that are applicable, but a lot of it is just like stories.
Yeah, there's 66 books in, I mean, the most like popular versions of the Bible. There's a lot of different stuff in there. And some of it, if you apply to your daily life, you're going to go to prison. So don't do that.
Men do not do more than what they are required to do. So he catches on that he gives you something ridiculous, like represented by this old piece of pasta. There. He gives it to you and you're like, oh, okay, I still love you. He goes, wait a minute. I was giving her all of this, when I could have just given her this and gotten the same result. Say less. Then next time, he gives you half an old pasta. Because men do not like to waste their energy. Notice how they like to do very little for what they get in return. Like they like.
Again, with the generalizations. How does she know that? And if he doesn't want to do more than he like absolutely has to, like if he just thinks that he can just do the bare minimum and that's like all he wants to do, why would you want to be with him? Like, he's not a good person.
Yeah. I just feel like, there's like premise after premise after premise that's just being built in, and she's building up this big hypothetical scenario. And remember, the point of this is to say that this is all male-female relationships. Like, this is all men and women. And I'm just like, there's so many. I mean, he, for real, could have severe ADHD, and he gets really freaked out and, like, loves the stimulation of a brand new relationship, and then is hyperfixating. And then when it's not new anymore, it just kind of like loses the shiny really fast. And he's like that with video games, and he's like that with food, and he's like that with his job. And that's sometimes people are like that. Or it could be for 1,000 other reasons.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is just ridiculous. This isn't going to help anyone.
Yeah.
To game on the sofa and they like to lie down, okay? This is not an offensive thing, it's just the truth. They're a very good organism. Like, they don't put in more effort than they need. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is what I'm getting now. I'll give him energy back. And you know what the worst part is? Is you get emotional. That's the worst part. This is where you go wrong. This is going to change.
You should get emotional about that. If that's not what you want from a relationship, if you want it to be kind of like more of a mutual thing where you're both putting in time and energy, you should be upset about it if he's just like, oh, I'm not really going to try that hard because she'll give me love anyways. How are you going wrong by being upset by that?
I feel like if you're basing everything that you do, every action toward your partner on like specific quantifiable transactions of whatever the substance is that you're giving to each other, then like that's not a healthy basis for a relationship in the first place.
Yeah, it's really seeing things like seeing relationships as like transactional purely.
It's an algorithm.
Yeah. Like where you're trying to get something out of it, and like it goes back to like seeing people as products that are consumable.
Yeah.
Which is just such a bizarre way to think about relationships.
I mean, I think it is a natural way to look at relationships now when the vast majority of people are finding people or trying to find people through dating apps. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of forced into looking at everything through that lens because it is a big game so that people can make money. So, like, even the consumers start looking at it through that type of
Yeah,
lens.
because it's true.
When he gives you this crummy old piece of pasta by the end like this, instead of being, and I'll tell you what to do in a second, instead of doing what you should do, you blow up and you give him a lot of emotion. You know what a lot of emotion means to him? That you still care. In fact, you lean in more. You're there like, why don't you do this with me? Why don't we do this anymore? Why don't you? This is what he is. I love you, I love you, I love you. Let's be together more. I love you, I love you, I love you. What you need to do instead is after he's given you this, and you've reciprocated with time, love, and attention, and then one time he gives you this crummy piece of crumb, you don't reply. You don't have time. You're not emotional. You're detached. You're not aggressive about it. You're not there telling him, oh, I feel like the relationship's not the same and it's not going anywhere, and let me write your whole monologue on the text and tell you why and how I thought, but you didn't, and then I thought, and then I was sad, and then you were sad. You act like it's a boring, non-interesting, non-event. This, you don't want to. You don't react to it. That's my daughter's food, by the way, that she finished. You are not interested. You're like this. I don't care. Then he's like, oh, wait, I've got to come with all of this again? I've got to get her attention by giving her a lot? Okay, then that's what I'm going to do. And that, my friend, is the 101 of men.
Why isn't there an option of, if that's the way that he's treating you, you should maybe probably leave him because
Yeah.
that's not normal and that's weird behavior.
I mean, it's like what I'm hearing is the options are either like she's basically saying blow up and freak out and like, you know, dump everything all at once and have it be like a giant altercation.
Well,
or
I don't know if she's even saying that though, actually, because
Okay.
I feel like she's saying just letting him know that that upset you, you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what okay, yeah, you might be right about that. I guess what I was gonna say is, I mean, I would say if you feel like there could be value here, again, this is super general, but if you feel like there could still be value in the relationship, communicate openly and honestly about what you think is going wrong, the way that you're feeling, and the standards that you think that the relationship should be held to and how you should be treated. And if that does not go well, then you have to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she's talking about it like it's a big game.
Yeah.
Like, why are we gamifying? This is so stupid and so toxic.
I mean, if you're, you know, pouring your love and time and energy into him and then he suddenly is not giving you any back and is not like reciprocating, I think the healthy thing to do would be to talk about that with him and say like, hey, that's not okay. Like, this is my expectation from the relationship. Like you're saying, if that doesn't work, then like leave him.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like kind of the consistent messaging from like all of these that we've watched, but especially with this one, is like healthy communication is never an option.
Yeah.
It's always emotionally manipulate.
Yep.
You know, or like assume that your partner is emotionally manipulating you and you need to emotionally manipulate back, but better.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get what you want. And it's just like, or if that's the way that you're going about a relationship, you shouldn't be in a relationship because you're not healthy and like in a good place to be someone's partner.
Yeah.
You know? And like the way she talks like annoys the shit out of me because it's very influenced. Like I can see it like Andrew Tate. Like I feel like she's like the woman version of Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
If you want him to take you out on a date but he doesn't, and you want him to do it but you don't want to nag and you don't want to plan it, there is only two reasons why he would take you out on a date. Reason one, you are actually more fun than anything else he's got to do, which in most of your cases is not the case. I'm not trying to offend, it's just that he'd have more fun with his friends or doing the games he wants to play or doing his hobby. It's just the way it is. So in the small percentage of you that are more fun than those things, he will take you out on a date, and if he's forgotten how fun you are, then you just have to show him how fun you are and he'll take you out again. But in most other cases, men do things in order to acquire what they want. So if he hasn't taken you out on a date, you need to get dressed up and you need to go out with your friends, and don't say, oh, you see, I'm going out with them because you won't take me out. Don't say none of that. No one wants to hear that. Just look like you're having the most fun and look like you're living your life. And then his drive to acquire your attention will kick in, and he will start taking you out on a date. So it's one of the two. Either you've got to be more fun and more enjoyable and more joyful than anything else he's got going on, or you got to make him feel like he hasn't won you over yet, and he needs to.
This lady,
is
I
this
like
bullshit?
genuinely kind of hate this girl.
You're right. This is it's like Andrew Tate stuff for women. Yeah.
Yeah. It's manosphere stuff for women. That's what this like feminine energy dating coaching stuff is.
It makes me wonder if she really believes this type of stuff, or she just knows that this kind of like gamifying and algorithmic way of like going about relationships is just something that people will latch onto on social media.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just in everything she says, she kind of boils down both men and women to their most undesirable traits, where it's like, it's almost like caricatures of people. I mean, I don't even know if I want to address what she said because it's like so preposterous. Like, she's, again, just like generalizing that all men are this way and they'll only want to take you on a date for two reasons. Like, one, it's to because you're actually more fun than anything else he would be doing, which is implying that women are not enjoyable to be around, which is just like an incredibly sexist thing to say.
And that they're like something almost to consume. They're an activity for men that compete with like a video game, which is really fucked up.
Yeah. And then two, she said, because he almost like he needs to conquer you. So you need to make him feel like he hasn't conquered you or acquired you yet, because men inherently want to conquer things. It's very much like, I'm like, how informed by Andrew Tate is this lady?
Yeah.
But it's like insane to me that she has as many followers as she does. And I've checked out the comments and like, they're overwhelmingly positive.
Ugh.
And I just think that if people were to actually apply her advice to their life, they're going to fuck up their life and their relationships, because this is probably like everything she says, you should do the opposite of it.
I'm just thinking of like a young woman who's getting into dating or something, or even like a teenage girl who hasn't dated anyone, because it's very normal not to date until you're older.
Yeah.
Sees this and is like, oh, okay, the way I, go about getting a date is to do one of these things. And it never crosses their mind that like someone might want to take them on a date because they just enjoy being with them, and they just they want to be with them, and they're not comparing them to like, well, do I want to play a video game, or do I want to, like, you're not an activity.
Yeah. It's so sad to me. So incredibly sad. I think it's really incredibly sad for me, especially considering like I didn't have the experience of being in the like dating scene in the era of social media, at least TikTok and like the form that it is in now.
Yeah.
I don't think that TikTok would have influenced me too incredibly much, because I think that I, even at a younger age, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I think I had a little bit healthier understanding of relationships then that compared to this.
Yeah.
But like with us, it's like we go on dates because we want to spend time with each other, and like we don't have like designated like date night kind of thing that's a little bit more typical for couples that might like work normal 9-to-5 jobs, but like our jobs we do together a lot of the time, and we're around each other all the time. So like the things that we we're going on dates like all the time,
Yeah.
you know? And we don't do that to like play some game with each other or like, oh, I'm going to go on a date so that I can get something from the other person.
Yeah.
Like we just love each other
Yeah.
and enjoy being around each other. And I feel like they always like these type of people make it so much more complex than I think it actually is. You know?
Yeah.
Like they overcomplicate it.
Yeah. They're overthinking it and trying to find some kind of like fundamental, like something that can be gamed.
Yeah.
Because that, again, I think it's just because that sells on TikTok, not because it actually helps with anybody's relationships.
Well, and I think the reason that they make it so like complex and seem like this very like dating is this very intimidating task is because every single one of these TikTokers that we've reacted to are selling courses.
Oh,
they're not just giving advice on TikTok. They're also selling courses.
Of course they are. Yeah.
This lady in particular, she has like, if you go to her website and maybe we can just like briefly go to it. Yeah, this is her website and she has like, I guess 4 different like coaching programs.
The Dream Girl Marriage Blueprint. There's no blueprint for a relationship between one unique person and another or other unique people. There's no blueprint.
Yeah.
If you say that there is, you're scamming people.
This one becoming her, yeah, it's $300. Total value of $896. How is she evaluating that?
Yeah, for real.
How is she determining that it's that high of a value?
Ugh.
Yeah, I looked at all of her different courses and you see this like 20 feminine principles. Yeah, feminine energy principles. So it's like this whole feminine energy thing. All of her courses range from like $100 to $300, which I think is like insane. I feel like any of these like online like courses are pretty much scams.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me so much of like the courses from like MLMs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's acting like you've said, that all these things can be boiled down to some like fundamental like mechanic or something. And I figured out the source code for it, and I'm going to be able to. And yeah, that's how they sell you on it, is to convince you of the idea that there is a source code to the universe and to healthy relationships when there's not. There just isn't.
Yeah. Not like relationship advice is not going to be applicable to every single person. Everyone's relationship is unique, like you said. And I mean, if you really want some or need advice and help with it, then you need to get someone who's like a professional, probably licensed therapist who knows your situation uniquely and can like give you advice based off of that.
Yeah.
And also, I just think that it's not as complex as they're presenting it, as if you like need to have the equation like to solve this like, you know, huge problem or something. It's not really like that.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're introducing our relationship course. No, just kidding.
So to conclude, we're going to give you guys Drew and Tay's algorithm for ultimate relationship success. And you can totally go to Taylor's Patreon to get the full course. It's valued at $10,000. So we're gonna give you the 5 principles real quick, and we're totally gonna elaborate on these, but only behind a paywall. So if you'd like to go ahead and give them the first principle.
The first one is develop intrinsic self-worth.
The next is set healthy boundaries.
Number 3, develop open and honest communication.
Number 4, have empathy for each other.
And number 5, engage in shared activities regularly.
If you do these things, you are guaranteed to have taken some very general advice that probably applies to your situation, but the specifics are, we don't really know because we have no idea who you are. Talk to an actual fucking professional.
It's generally good advice, I think.
But that's about as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, but I think that's like all of that can apply to not just relationships, but these are things that you should be doing with like not just romantic relationships, like with
Yeah.
any type of relationship that you have.
Yeah.
Like,
Giving specific relationship advice on the internet most of the time
yeah.
is kind of stupid.
You know, and I think there are a lot of, for some reason, like conservative Christians that base their like YouTube channels around giving relationship advice. And a lot of them have only been married for like a year, and they like think that makes them authorities to talk about marriage. And it's just like, yeah, anyone who's giving you relationship advice on the internet, like 99% of the time, I'm like very
Skeptical?
Skeptical of them.
That's my word.
So stay skeptical, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons. A huge thank you to my patrons who help make these videos possible. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my Instagram is Taylor_the_antibot. And if you'd like to support this channel financially, a link to my Patreon will be down in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I guess yawn.